The
whales.
humpbacks, like to this day, like that's still one of the coolest wildlife things I've ever
These are
done.
cool,
Like
yeah.
literally just swimming with those things. And like the biggest one we saw, I don't know, maybe it was like 35, 40 feet, something like that.
Yeah.
Like those big bulls get over 50 feet.
This is Folded Curiosity.
That was such a trip. My friend that arranged that dive trip we were talking about Mike, and the one we did. So she's doing another one to French Polynesia. Then I couldn't go on because it was just.
Was this
way
the
too
shark trip?
long. Yeah, she's a shark diver. So I was with her literally like a week before we started Evan Goes Wild, because remember I don't know if I told you guys I was doing that dive trip with tiger sharks in the
Yes.
Bahamas, and then like came home for a bit, and then we're in French Polynesia.
This was that trip.
I met her on that trip. We'd been in touch for a bit before, but she was, what was I talking about? Oh, she's going to French Polynesia, and she's doing something with their board of tourism or something. I was like, man, I hope she hooks up with, remember Dr. Poole?
Dr.
And we're
Poole, yeah.
doing the
whales.
humpbacks. Like to this day, like that's still one of the coolest wildlife things I've ever
He's
done.
a cool,
like
yeah.
literally just swimming with those things. And like, he's like, yeah, they shed skin like everything else, which makes sense. And we see their skin sheds, and they're like this big, they're humpback whales. So yeah,
For them, that's a flake of skin.
a little dandruff thing.
That was
floating
such
around.
a. I think seeing the size of those is what blew my mind. Like, it's always, pictures never do it justice. Video coverage never does it justice. But seeing, for you, obviously a different experience. You're in the water, you're underneath, and I just see the mass of these things and thinking like,
We're just seeing cows. We're just seeing females. We didn't see big bulls. We didn't see the big boys.
That's true.
I mean, those things, like the biggest one we saw, and maybe it was like 35, 40 feet, something like that.
Yeah.
Like those big bulls get over 50 feet. That's an animal, dude. Oh my God.
that's like bigger than a school bus. I mean,
It's
you know what I
crazy.
mean? Like, how did you even get into that? Like, what created the curiosity? I know it's like, we've talked about this before, but as a child, like, but what was that curiosity? Was it like just curious about things and animals happened to, or
No,
was
it's definitely like a natural I can't explain why, but there was a drive towards the animals, like the curiosity. I think it probably started on some level with dinosaurs, like a lot of little kids and little boys like. But you see it in your backyard, and you're like, oh my God, there's like, so I grew up in Kansas, outside of Kansas City in the suburbs. We had a creek in our backyard, which was such a special thing to have as a little kid, or a little kid like me. I'm biased. But you'd see deer, and you'd see turtles, and you'd see snakes, and you'd see frogs, and like I was just fully obsessed. I mean, most of my memories, of my earliest memories, are me just being in my backyard and flipping rocks, looking for the coolest insects in the area, hoping I get lucky and see a water snake or a snake, or a box turtle, or some bullfrogs or whatever's out there. Like, so yeah, the animals, like they just got my attention, and then it really started mostly with like reptiles and amphibians. And so I love reptiles.
That's
Like,
like
I was
your
always
that's
looking
your
for
heart,
snakes,
right?
and that's where the core of it comes from. But then I've gotten to work with so many other kinds of species, and I become passionate about that. I become very passionate about completely different non-reptile animals like rhino. I do a lot of rhino conservation. I'm sure we can talk about that, but like we're working with primates or big cats. Like, dude, that was amazing. When we were in Mexico working with that big jaguar, like that was special. I'd not worked with a jaguar. That's like the leopard of the New World, like the Western Hemisphere version of this like ultimate predator,
Sure.
and maybe even more ultimate than a leopard. You could potentially argue, because you see how they hunt in the water, on land. They get bigger than leopards. I mean, that is just like this killing machine. And when you get to know these animals and what they're all about, what they're capable of, you can't not be interested. And another big one is birds. I was never like a huge bird person, but dude, when you travel, like so many of the cool like reptiles I'd be keen to get after. And a lot of my travels were based on not, I want to see this thing or eat this food or this history or whatever. It was like, what are the snakes that are native there? Like, what can I see in the wild? Like, that's the number one priority. And then we just like the other stuff is cool too. And man, when I'm going in the jungles in, Southeast Asia or Central America, dude, there's some special birds out there. So you can't just not appreciate all these other, animals. And we're talking vertebrates, but then the invertebrates, you got these wild scorpions and all these weird, wacky insects and just crazy little things. So the natural world, I think it's this fascination and curiosity and just passion about the natural world. And that like played into what I do today. So as a veterinarian, like I do it for selfish reasons. I love working with these animals. Like it brings me a lot of happiness. It's fun as hell. It's so cool. It's just wild stuff. But as a vet, I can like give back to the animals. Like I want to promote wildlife and conservation. And so I want to see these animals in the wild And if I'm a veterinarian and if I have a platform where I can raise awareness and get, attention out there, I can get back to them in a way and kind of recontribute and try to, keep these things going on some level. You know what I mean?
Thanks for watching. If you like this segment, you can catch the full episode on my channel or just click below. And if you're listening on audio or Spotify, the full video is up now on YouTube.